Welcome to Ghosts Want You Dead presents Ghosts Want to Talk About AMC's The Vampire Lestat. I'm Matthew.
I'm Rebekah, and it's Tuesday, which means it's time to talk about vampires. In episode 5, New York,
The band is in the studio. In voiceover, Lestat talks about various coffins he has used over the years. The band is frustrated at the excessive takes on the song being recorded. He laments Pitchfork's opinion of their little album. He confirms that he is pretending to be dead to cover up his being a real vampire, referring to the album they are currently recording as posthumous. It's a Me, Mama has taken over as momager. Lestat announces that he will explore the history of his musicianship. And also, he's going to talk about the Queen of the Damned. Now, it's time for a little bit Lestat.
the song being recorded after the opening credits isn't as bad as the others. Lestat criticizes the drumming. He flashes to being dragged muddy from a hole in the ground. In the studio, he monologues pretentiously about his vision for their little album. In flashback, blood drips onto his muddy face. He is offered a bloody wrist. He's wanting all of the instruments to be his metaphorical soundtrack. It's kind of funny.
He wanders confused until coming upon a mysterious stranger. It's Marius, which is how I'm going to say it because I am but a simple hick, but he pronounces it Marius. Lestat is confused, saying that Armand told him that Marius was dead. Well, turns out he's not. And he introduces Lestat to those who must be kept, and he pronounces Akasha as Akasha. Back in the studio, Mama takes a business call. Florence Welch wants the little band as an opener. After having attended Florence's tour this year, I can see how that would be on brand. The vampire producer is questioning Lestat's bitchery as he intends to re-record all of the guitar parts himself.
Back in the Marius flashback, he gives cryptic instructions to go buy gifts for those who must be kept. He wishes to train Lestat as his replacement as their keeper. Marius brings Lestat a violin, which he says he doesn't know how to play. He is told to recall Nikki. Marius recounts an incident in which he accidentally left Akasha and Inkil in the sun, burning all the vampires. This is a different character in the book. Marius explains that Akasha connects all vampires. She is the seed. If she burns, they all burn. And now she's Lestat's responsibility. Lestat doesn't want the job.
Marius, however, insists. He prepares to leave, telling Lestat that Akasha didn't speak to him for 22 years when he started looking after her. Immediately, Akasha telepathically corrects Marius to Lestat, but in a spooky ghost voice, which made me laugh.
Yeah.
She's all 23. Elsewhere, in a restaurant, Louis explains the concept of RevPar to Pretend Claudia. This was endearing to me as a former hospitality professional. Pretend Claudia is doing her British accent. There's another actress playing French for Louis' benefit, but she breaks character.
Yeah, her little girlfriend, Nazi sympathizer girlfriend, or whatever that was. The girl who's doing it seems like just an actress they hired to do it. And she's all like, ooh, I'm doing my French real good, huh? It's kind of funny. Intercut black and white fan interviews from Daniel's documentary. We pull back to see him filming and asking questions. Armand speaks through one of the interviewed fans. Elsewhere, Daniel and Armand are talking. Daniel is grossed out by Armand being in love with him. Armand confesses the various ways in which he has manipulated Daniel's life. Armand tells him that Louis knew all about it and isn't the saint Daniel seems to think. Armand tattles on Lestat and It's a Me Mama's incestuous relationship.
Back in the studio, Lestat asks Mama why she left him. She wonders which time. She talks about never being particularly interested in being a mother. She finally settles on the time that she left him in Spain, which she pronounces spine. She explains it was because she didn't need him anymore. They kiss a little and make fuck eyes at one another.
Back in the underground lair, where those who must be kept are being kept, in flashback, Lestat bitches as he returns with an ice cream scoop. He is being silly, and it is cute. He learned a new melody on his outing and plays it on the violin. Akasha repeats the new word, scoop, telepathically, but in her slow ghost voice. Lestat plays a bit more and asks about the origin of vampires and why Gabriella left him and whether he is evil and where is God.
Back in the studio, he records vocals badly. He is being menaced by hallucination ghost Nikki. He is not singing well. He runs out into the sun to record the vocal with his face on fire to try and get the sound he wants. It is silly. In a boat, pretend Claudia asks about Louis' boyfriend. She's doing the Claudia voice, which I meant to discuss last week because how would she know the voice from the book?
Yeah.
Anyway, she's doing the southern accent that she shouldn't know how to do, but Louis tells her to stop. So they begin again with her British accent. He explains how his boyfriend is nice. They're interrupted by a security guard who Louis mind controls, and pretend Claudia is intrigued by this. She asks him to mind control her, and he does. He makes an unpleasant face and holds her hand while mentally preventing her from moving. She isn't so much into it. They leave.
Back in the underground Queen of the Damned flashback chamber, Lestat is playing music for those who must be kept. He pretentiously explains the music and seems to be having a nervous breakdown as he has set a table for all of his imaginary hallucinations of those he loves and hates and has even made them little place cards. Akasha repeats no voices in her slow ghost voice. She taps her finger on the slab. Lestat appears to finger her while taunting Inkill, who is stone and quiet on his slab. He goes to turn over the record, but it is scratched, and then he has a hissy fit. He apologizes to Akasha and exposits that it is New Year's 1900. Akasha is sitting now. She telepathically beckons to him in her ghost voice with her hand outstretched. He takes her hand and she bites him and drinks his blood.
Back in the studio, he tracks more vocals while hallucinating himself as a child, stuttering through reading. He has a brief flashback to attending the burning of the witches. He asks Mama why she took him to the witches' place. Hallucination child Lestat tells him to check his texts. It's Louis asking him to call. The contact name is Thomas Pity He's a Whore. The text asks for Lestat's help and to please call. He asks the band to transpose the song down a whole step, but he delivers this request a la Faye Dunaway hollering "No wire hangers ever" in Mommy Dearest. It sounds almost exactly like that.
Mhm.
In the hallway, the brothers in the band bitch about the recording process, but they seem to think the record is good. Poor boys.
Elsewhere in a car, Louis explains to Lestat his weird thing with Regina. Louis is confused, asking if maybe it really is Claudia returned to him. He wants Lestat to check. Lestat replies that he was shot in the streets and Louis didn't even call. Louis sort of apologizes and Lestat agrees, but is mad about it. He enters the diner in a hoodie and glasses. She recognizes him and informs him the internet says he is dead. Lestat telepathies at her. Sam Reed does some great face acting, overcome with emotion. She explains why she still works at the diner. She does the voice. He has flashbacks. Lestat tries to get her to stop this weird relationship. He has more flashbacks. She does the voice again, and it clearly gets to him. He snaps back with small differences when she asks if she really looks just like Claudia. He exits, overwhelmed. Lestat returns to Louis, telling him it is not her, not anything like her. And he tells him not to see Regina again and to call next time he is attempted murdered.
Back in the studio, he is clearly very emotional and sits at the piano. He plays diegetically the music we've heard non diegetically during the preceding scene. He is writing a new song, which he begins to sing in the booth as a hallucinated Claudia looks on. This is intercut with him singing and writing at the piano. This is a piano ballad about the whole New Orleans and Paris business. It is kind of pretty. Hallucination Claudia cries. Her hand is burnt. He flashes back to Claudia burning in Paris. Ashes fall on the piano. Here is where I admit that this made me cry a little bit.
Yeah, me too. Later, the song is played back in the studio with strings and drums added, which kind of cheapens it. The band is annoyed at the new sound. Lestat informs them Longface isn't going on the record. In fact, they are re recording the whole thing. Larry quits. Lestat says the new version is going to be for vampires only. They wish to be converted, but he hesitates. He tells a story about it's me, Mama, leaving him in Spain and his tenure as the keeper of those who must be kept. Akasha is full on awake and ranting at him, asking questions while also sort of explaining her origins in ways that will not make sense to anyone who hasn't read the books. Marius returns, furious that Lestat and Akasha have exchanged blood. Lestat is floating in the air, seemingly not of his own free will. He cries out that he has been floating for 3 days. Marius is very mad, trying to get Akasha to return to the slab he keeps her on. She lies down and continues her questions. She struggles to sit as Marius fires Lestat from the babysitting gig.
Akasha is pissed, and it is very cool. I
Yeah,
am fully on board.
me too.
Back in the studio, Lestat is still warning the band about how he's crazy and nothing good can come of them getting vampired. Alex disagrees and dramatically slices his hand open, and the rest of them follow suit. Mama is amused. In the subway, someone recognizes Larry, the guitarist who quit. It's a fan of the band, and they're talking across the train tracks. A train comes, separating them for a moment. He then pisses in her post toasties, saying that he's not in the band anymore and doesn't know anything about if they're making a record or not. Armand is sitting next to him and he mind controls him into jumping onto Chekhov's train tracks and in front of a train, as was clearly going to happen as soon as we saw that they were at the train station.
Right.
The end.
Until next week. I liked this episode a great deal more. It was a big relief because the last few episodes I have not felt very engaged, but this one sure was good.
Yes, it also got me back on board after last week's slower one. There are many, many, many changes from the book, and I had reservations at first, but now I am mostly a fan of the changes. And I did think, as we already talked about on the phone earlier, when Lestat writes the good song in this episode and then says they're going to redo the whole album, I wonder, is the music going to be good from now on? And will they canonically dismiss the previous songs as silly and bad?
They might, and I would like it if they did.
Also, the actress that they cast as Akasha is great. Sheila Atem. She's doing a great job, though I am a little unsure of the accent. It sounded for a moment like she was also doing Italian. Which, I mean, I guess might make sense if Marius has been babysitting her for hundreds of years.
I did like her raging, crazy, wild-eyed rant. That was pretty great.
It was very good. It did continue in this episode the pattern that I've noticed that the bits that I like are any of the non-band stuff.
Yeah.
I am just not super interested in his music career, and I only like the flashbacks or when Louis is there.
I do like when Louis is there, and I do really like what they're doing with Regina. That is interesting. And I like is she, her reincarnate or, things like that. It leaves open question. And since it is new from the book storyline, it kind of leaves room for new exploration into the world, although I don't know that they will resolve it. I think that the grief and sadness between them was really palpable in those scenes. Honestly, I started to get teary at the diner when Lestat was talking to not Claudia, and then more so when he was playing the music about it. But yeah, I really enjoyed that sidetrack. I was sad to see Schitt's Creek Larry jump in front of a train, but I also knew that
Is he from Schitt's Creek?
yeah, that's the boyfriend, the husband, the fiance, Patrick.
I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, that's
I
Patrick.
thought he looked vaguely familiar, but
That is one thing. I like that actor, and I was hoping that he would have a little bit more going on.
It is funny that he's on this, what with the opening credits song.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I hadn't even thought about that. I like that. Anyway, he does a good job. But I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm excited to see how many do we have left?
2. There are 2 left.
Well, I'm excited to see what else they do.
It is annoying that there are only 7 and it's just getting good at 5, and
Yeah.
we'll have to wait probably another 2 years before another one.
Yeah, that is a bummer.
Now is time for me to go on my elder millennial rant about how it's stupid how they do television now. And back in my day, TV seasons were like 24 episodes and came out every year like clockwork. And that was back before digital. Digital is supposed to make things easier. Why does it make it take longer then?
Right.
Well, as we said, there are only 2 episodes left. A reminder that on our Patreon, we will be discussing Anne Rice's The Vampire Lestat novel this month. Another reminder, if you are into vampires, we're watching and recapping the entirety of Dark Shadows on this very podcast feed, and we're just getting to the vampire-y bits on Monday.
We can be found on Patreon, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and YouTube at Ghosts Want You Dead. See you next Tuesday.